Hey, what do you say, Frankmeisters? Good evening. Let's welcome Kristin behind the crime door, one of my good friends, and we've got a bit session to take on tonight. How are you?
I'm good. I'm cold, but I'm good. How are you?
You got them nerves settled down yet from this bullshit today?
I'm working on it. I got my Starbucks. I got
Oh
it. I got
my.
my Starby.
Oh my. Man, what a day, Kristin. What a day. I'm flabbergasted with this bullshit.
I just
You know?
think it's funny that people think they know the how the judicial system works, and they think they know everything, and none of them know any of it.
No. Thank God.
Hey,
Thank God that we got you and your judge slash defense attorney friend that keeps us up to date on what's what and what's not.
that's right.
You know,
Yeah.
let's give some shout outs real quick before we dive into all this shit. Kyra, it's good to see you. CJK, Ziggy, 63 Clocks, Susie. I've been talking all day on and off with her. Rescue, how was that dinner, ma'am? Roxanne, good to see you.
Hi, Rescue. I love you. Give him a big hug for me.
Mustang, good to see you. Excuse me. Melissa, what's going on? Susan W, Yvonne, Joe. Joe, man, if you want that link to my Discord, dude, you need to email me so I can send it to you, brother. Constantine, what's going on, brother? Heidi, Nixon, good to see you, man. We got GP, Miss Pam.
Hi, CJK.
Cindy.
Hi, Shane.
Linda Harder's good to see you. Mr. Gravitt, what's going on?
Hi there, Randy.
Oh, I know he's pissed. I know he's pissed. Sleuth Reloaded, what's going on? Good to see you. Delph, what's going on? Delphi After Dawn. See Through. Been a minute. Good to see you. Annabelle Higgins. That's a new name. Good to see you. I'm glad everybody showed up tonight. It's been a while since I've done a live. Lady Monet, it's good to see you. So where do you want to start? We can start with the safekeeping order.
Yeah, let's start there. Let's start there.
All right. Give me a second. And wrong one. Present arms. Let me get my files up here.
No need to be concerned about the whole council thing. They're making a big deal out of nothing, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to explain to you why and what the law says, which nobody else seems to want to talk about what the actual law is. They want to talk about what they think they know.
Where am I at? What do I got going on here?
I love Frank's hoodie too. I want one.
Hold on a second. What is going on here?
It's okay, Shane. It's okay.
I'm pissed. I'm getting pissed now already.
It's okay, guys. Oh, Shane, don't trust me. We will get there. We will explain it to you. I promise. Hi, Phil Bond. How are you, my dear?
All right. Let me expand this a little bit. If I can find a spot to expand it.
First of all, the one thing I do want to say to everybody tonight is when I talk to my judge, my best friend's husband's the judge. You guys all know this. And he's been a judge for a long time. And he also was a defense attorney for years before he was ever appointed as a judge. So he also is a professor of law, and he has taught at multiple universities in the state of Illinois for law. He's taught law.
Right.
So he knows the law and he knows what he's talking about. And one of the things I wanted to tell you all, what you're seeing with, and we talked about this before, but I want to remind everyone that there are certain things that the defense counsel has to do in a case. They are required. It is part of their defense of their client. What we're seeing here and these motions after the case are part of that. Yes, this part of this is being done because of an appeal that they're getting ready to file. And that's one reason why they are hurrying to try to do these motions and get these motions in on the core of the case. But this is a normal procedure that happens in all cases. Please don't listen to the people out there that are trying to make this seem like this is a complete fluke and this shouldn't be happening and the case is all over and there's all, it's.
What we got presented here, guys, is back in November 2nd of 2022, Toe Pleasantby filed with the court for a safekeeping order on Richard Allen. And basically saying that they're afraid that somebody's going to try to kill him, this and that. You understand the verbiage of what I'm talking about, killing him or harm him because of what he's being accused of, okay? So now I'm going to go to Judge Diener, who Court order is entered November 3rd of 2022. Now, this is granting the safekeeping order. There's no reason for me to go read through this, but there was something I wanted to show you guys on here. Now, we know that Kathy Allen paid a retainer for an attorney, paid $5,000. The dipshit did not file an appearance whatsoever. Down here at the bottom, since he did not file, oops, my next page. Since he did not file an appearance, this is what happens. Okay?
I think there's a reason he didn't file an appearance, but we'll get to that.
Right. This is the rest of the court order. So what happens after the judge makes their judgment and files it in court? They automatically send an e-notice to the prosecuting attorney, also a defense attorney if there is one that had made an appearance for Richard Allen. Since there was no attorney that filed an appearance for Richard Allen, basically what happens is they send a copy of the order to the sheriff's department to give to Richard Allen. He does not have to have an attorney present. As long as he is notified that there's going to be a hearing, in which I guarantee he was notified. Guarantee it. Because I'm sure he would have been like, where are we going? Why are we going to court? Da, 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 da. Okay? So, Mr. Gibson basically stole $5,000 from Kathy Allen. Is basically what happened here. Okay? Go ahead and explain what you were going to explain.
Yeah. So okay, there's a couple of things. First of all, if Kathy Allen tried to retain an attorney for $5,000, that attorney, in my opinion, told her that that was not going to be enough to retain him for this high-profile case, this case. And that's when Richard Allen was notified of that, because what did Richard Allen do, you guys? He wrote a letter to the court. He wrote a letter to Judge Gull on November the 9th, I think.
Yep.
November the 9th of 2022, and threw himself on the mercy of the court. He had no money and he was indigent and he had no way to pay for an attorney. Now, either you have an attorney retained for you or you don't.
And then you got the defense claiming he did not have an attorney for his initial hearing. The law says you will not have an attorney at your initial hearing. Your initial hearing is to be read the filing of the charges on you, and the judge will strictly ask you, do you want to hire your own attorney, or do you want the court to provide you with an attorney?
Most people do not have one at their arraignment or whatever that first initial. The initial hearing is.
Right.
That most people don't. They haven't had time, for one. They haven't had time to get one. And like I said, even if this all happened, you guys, even if they paid $5,000 and this guy didn't file his appearance, this should have all been dealt with at the pretrial. All of the pretrial issues, this should have been dealt with by Rosie and Baldwin. If this was a real thing, this case would have been, the brakes would have been on this case from day one. But it wasn't. They never talked about this attorney. They've never talked about this $5,000 retainer. Don't tell me they didn't know if they're saying that. This was Kathy Allen, for God's sake. This was their client. They are being very, very apple picking here, cherry picking, whatever you want to call it. And they're pulling certain information out. They're throwing in these motions like a spit wad against the wall, hoping it'll stick. And that's what my judge buddy friend told me. He's like, Kristin, this is what the defense does. They try everything. They have to. It's part of what defense attorneys are required by the law to do for the client. Now, where we laugh about all of this, now they're going to throw out here that what they're trying to do is state that his Sixth Amendments were violated because his Sixth Amendment was violated. This was already adjudicated in front of the Supreme Court, you guys.
Yeah.
They talked about this very thing at the Supreme Court level, and the Supreme Court level didn't buy it then. They're not going to buy it now. The appellate court is not going to buy it.
And the thing about this whole situation with Attorney Gibson, he was in communication with Nick McClellan. We've got the documents, but why did he file an appearance?
Exactly. And Rosie can't get him to do an affidavit, a written affidavit. He's talked to him, supposedly told him verbally that he was retained, but he's not able to get him to do an affidavit. Why?
I'll tell you why.
That's a big deal, guys.
I'll tell you why. My opinion, because he read from what they had on Rich, and he's like, oh, no, I ain't touching this. And took their money and ran. Trust me on that. I'm just flabbergasted that I understand it's part of the process for defense attorneys. It is
part of the process. And one of the things that people don't also understand, and what he explained to me today when I was talking to him, is that things that do not happen at trial or pre-trial are waived. It doesn't matter anymore. This is stuff that should have happened way
years
back
ago.
when. And if you can say, well, why didn't Rosie and Baldwin do this? Was it negligence? Was it malpractice? Could be, probably, because they're complete
morons,
unprofessional morons, in my opinion, and not just my opinion. Anybody that's legally got any legal brains that looks at this case, they look at these two guys and like, what the heck? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you? You know, we've talked about this before on this very channel with Frank and others, when we've had others on with us. Why didn't they petition the court in the very beginning? Their client was so mentally messed up and so screwed up by these Odinists and by these people in the Westville Correctional that they why didn't they petition the court to have him evaluated?
Send him to Logansport to the state hospital.
To the state hospital to get him. Why?
Yep, they left him in there.
They left their client set in that place because they didn't care, and they knew he was guilty, and they knew that he was trying to, figure out how do we get out of this? How do we get out of this mess that we're in? Well, that's what defenses do. They have to come up with a narrative, and they want to take your eyes off of the ball, which was Richard Allen being bridge guy. They never, ever talked about Richard Allen not being bridge guy.
Nope, they sure didn't. Because if you go to the Frank's memorandum, the very first one, they kept saying, our client was not at the crime scene. But where in that memorandum do you see they deny that he was bridge guy?
They
not
never.
Once.
No.
Not once.
And if he's bridge guy, he's guilty of killing the girls, even if he didn't. Do you understand what we're saying here? That is what he was accused of, and that is what he was found guilty of. He kidnapped them off of that bridge. He took them down the hill. According to law enforcement, and this is where it's going to get dicey, and Frank's going to lose his shit in a minute, but we're going to be okay with that because we're going to keep Frank quiet tonight. We're going to tell him it's okay, because you know how Frank can get really upset with these people, and as these scarecrows, as he calls them. But they, law enforcement says this is what happened. If any of you guys have been listening to anybody that's been talking after the case is over, and I'm talking about Jerry Holman, who, I don't care who's out there, you talk badly about that man devoted his life to this case. He gave it everything. And he wasn't looking to pin it on somebody. He wanted the man that was responsible for this brutal and heinous crime. He didn't want him to do it again. He didn't want him to be able to hurt anyone else. He's a father, for my God. He's got children.
Right.
So does Nick. He's got kids. I mean, my God, there is no way.
Nick even had private investigators following him around, going to his kids' basketball games and taking pictures of Nick at the ball games.
Logan is a nothing burger. They are bringing Ron Logan up because they know they can't go anywhere with the Odinism. They know that if they bring up that Odinist crap in this appeal, see ya, we're not even going to talk to you. So they're going to try Ron Logan. They're going to try to bring that up. But we all know that Ron Logan did not participate in this crime. You guys, there is no evidence. You can think what you want, all you want. Show us the evidence.
Right. And the question is, they're bringing Ron Logan up now. Why in the hell didn't they do that instead of the Odinist? That makes more sense than Odinism.
Well, we've said it all along. If they were going to pin this crime on somebody, why would they pick the guy that's the mediocre guy that works at CVS that nobody knows? Nobody, why are they picking him? He's never been in trouble. He doesn't have a record. Why would you pick him to pin this crime on? Excuse me, Ron Logan makes more sense to pin the crime on than anybody.
Exactly.
And the fact that the man died of COVID. So he's not even here to defend himself. Are you kidding? They could have pinned it on him, thrown away the key, and it would have been done.
And then Mr. Ricky Davis, an inmate at Newcastle Correctional, who's been convicted of fraud, forgery, theft, and possession of meth over 1,000 grams. 1,000 grams. Why would you? What do you think he would do this for and say that Ron Logan did this? One explanation: any criminal that's in prison is going to come up with some cockamamie fucking story to try to get time cut or something off his sentence. But what people don't know that we know, he failed a polygraph miserably. And I know I'm going to get slack for that. How in the hell do I know this? I haven't talked to law enforcement because they are not talking at all. I've got other sources that I can go to get information from. So don't even come at me about fucking Holman, all you buffoon scarecrows.
Even if these people that, like I said, that want to throw law enforcement under the bus, I'm sick of it. I am sick of it with this case. Did they make mistakes? Yes. They even admitted that they made mistakes. Every case has mistakes made in it. These people are not perfect. I've said it before. Any of you out there that are sitting out there that have worked a job, you tell me when you didn't make a mistake.
You
Hello.
know, Ron.
Hello.
We all know Ron Logan was an asshole. We all know this just from the people in the town, the women that he was dating. We know this, but it does not make him a killer.
No.
It does not make him a kid piddler. None of that.
No. Kyra just posted something amazing. 61 is the number. Believe the man. Rick threw in the towel and knew he was caught from the beginning and repeatedly told law enforcement and his wife and his mother several times that he did it. And Rick refused to take a polygraph. Innocent men and women don't normally refuse to take a polygraph when you're being accused of murder, double homicide of children.
Right. And I mean, and this Ricky Davis was claiming that Ron Logan took the girls, went back across the bridge, down the trail to Ron Logan's property. Give me a fucking break. Excuse my French, but I'm over this shit.
I am too, and I'm so sick and tired of these people that have no logic. They don't stop and think about how ridiculous what they're listening to is. And it's like, you know, we haven't even begun to talk about what this does to the family. I mean, you know, hey, Tech Death, how are you, hon?
Oh,
good to see you.
Man, I've been watching his shows here lately.
Isn't he awesome?
Yeah.
He's awesome. I love him. I love him like my boy. He's awesome. But no, you got, you know, stop and think about it, you guys. Why did Frank and I kind of go quiet after all of this happened? We wanted to give the family time to process everything that was going on. We know that the family tunes in and watches us and listens to what we have to say. And so we're kind of like, let's give them a break from all of this. And we personally needed the break emotionally.
Oh, man, you wouldn't believe. Trust me, guys, when we went to the sentencing and Carrie got up there to do her impact statement, there was not a dry eye in that courtroom. Even reporters were in there bawling. And I don't cry over nothing, but that really got to me. You know?
It's hard. You know, when you see the raw emotion, you hear those victim impact statements, you guys, my God. You know, we read them. You know, we read them. We talked about the victim impact statements on our last live that Frank and I did, and we talked about how emotional it was to sit there that day and listen to these gut-wrenching testimonials, you know, from all the family members. And I'm just, like I said, what's happening in this case, and we've talked about it. I knew that this case was going to do this. I mean, I really did, because there is an entire group of people in the Delphi community that they will never be happy with anything. If the narrative isn't what they want to hear, then they're not going to accept it. It's that simple. You know, it's just that simple. And quite frankly, it doesn't matter what we think or what we believe. The 12 jurors that sat there in that courtroom for 4 weeks and listened to all of the evidence that we didn't even see. Some of us didn't even see all of the evidence that was in the court.
And that brings me to that juror. Now they're saying that she violated something in the jury room. Let me tell you something I was on a jury. As long as you're all in the same room, they can have pods in one room and 4 going one pod, 4 going together, so forth and so on. As long as they're all together, they are able to do that. These defense attorneys are saying, oh, they were running all over the courtroom, doing this and doing that. Let me tell you something. Kiss my ass, because they were not walking around the courtroom, none of that.
I guarantee you that they had multiple. Well, if you listen to the murder sheet, who interviewed the juror, she said that she'd never seen so much police around them, and she couldn't believe it. I mean, they had deputies everywhere, taking them to and from court, with them constantly, even in the elevator when they were in the hotel. If they had to go downstairs or wherever they were going, there was a deputy with them. That's the way it works. They
were
don't
basically
get to do whatever they want to do. They don't get to run around and do what they want to do. And when you talk about trials being overturned, jury verdicts being overturned, this was another thing that my judge told me today. Go back and look at the history of overturned verdicts. First of all, it is extremely rare.
Less than 1% in the state of Indiana gets overturned.
It's very, very rare because our judicial system is set up to accept the jury's verdict. That's how it was all designed. That's why there's 12 individual people of your peers. That's why they are so meticulous when they're picking jurors, and they have all this, because they're trying to find 12 people
that are non-partial,
are going to be impartial. And if you listen to Nick McClellan, he did an interview with WTHR, and if you haven't seen it, go out and watch it, because he says if there was one thing that was worrisome to him about this case, was finding 12 people that didn't know the ins and outs of this case. He knew how heavily it was followed on social media. He knew how heavily it was being watched within Carroll County and Indiana. He was worried. But guess what? They were able to seat a jury quickly. A lot quicker
2 days.
Than I thought they would.
Exactly, 2 days. By the way, Joe, you can thank Rescue All Dogs. She's the one who made this sweatshirt for me.
It's awesome. I love it. I want one.
No, I still got to get with my people.
I want one.
I've got an idea on my sweatshirts. I'm going to do a purple, black, and gray with the Meister emblem on the front.
Yay. Purple's my favorite color.
And just when I can get around to doing it, I've just been lazy, taking so much time off away from all this.
Hey. You have a life, and you got to take care of your health. You've got to take care of, you know what I mean? We all do. So, don't apologize for that. But it's so funny to me how people pick and choose the information that they want to believe in this case. It just, Deb, True Crime Notebook, and I are going to cover John Bonet. We've been talking about it, and her and I are going to work on it together. And I have been watching a lot of the John Bonet case stuff. I've been going back and looking at old interviews and everything to try to get myself caught back up. I cannot believe the things that I thought I knew about that case, because, guys, I lived that case. I was in Colorado when that happened. I was living there. So I listened to all of that, and I'm like, my God, I had that wrong. I thought that was different. It's so easy to get your facts screwed up to what you think you know. That's why it's so important for everyone that's out there in true crime. This is why I love Frank so much, and everybody, and I respect everyone who sat in that courtroom day after day and went to those hearings and listened, and they know what they heard. You can sit and you can listen to this podcaster and that podcaster and this person and that person, but if they weren't there,
shut the hell up.
Yeah, exactly.
Shut the hell up.
Because you weren't there. You don't know.
You're being fed information that they got out of the court, but they're putting their little twist and tweaks in it to benefit themselves.
And Jason King from Delphi After Dawn says, it amazes me the amount of people that put out lies and bullshit. And people will believe it, but they don't want to believe the truth when we put it out, but they are so quick to believe the lies. And I absolutely agree with you. And to me, that is what's scary right now in our country, is that people are more quick to grab on to lies and BS than to believe the truth. And I don't understand it. I don't know why, but man, and this conspiracy theorists, I mean, good Lord, you know?
And another thing I wanted to get to is Brad Weber and his time. Yes, he said he arrived home around 2:30, but we know by videotapes of, camera that he arrived around 2:44 at home. Now, the defense is making a big deal saying he lied about the time. He didn't lie about nothing.
Nope.
When you
if anything, from what the defense did in their motion, is all it did was, for me, which it doesn't really matter, but for me, it solidified that he was there when he said he was.
No matter if he got there at 2:30 or if he got there at 2:44.
Nope.
Basically, what's happened here, he was saying he got home around 2:30. Now, you can interpret around all you want, but around to me gives you leeway.
Exactly. And who's going to remember the exact time? You and I talked about that today. I mean, come on. Really? Who is going to remember the exact moment in time that they got home?
Look at Heidi. She says, funny how that 1 minute it's the Odin clan, then it's back to Ron Logan again. Exactly. They're going to take anything they can grasp their straws from and throw it at the walls and see if it sticks.
Timestamps on videos are not proof of anything.
No, they're not.
They're not, because the timestamp can be off. And if that was a trail cam that they used to get those photos, you don't know if that trail cam was altered or right, and they can't prove that timestamp.
Prime example. I got cameras in my house. Okay. What'll happen if there's a power surge or something, it automatically resets the camera and the time's going to change. No matter, you're going to have a different time. It's like unplugging a VCR or a DVD player. What happens when you do that? It resets the time, correct? And then you have to reset it yourself. Yeah, right, Susie? Me and you talked extensively about this today. You are not, unless the attorney's there for your arraignment, you don't have to have an attorney there. That's what the judge asks you at an arraignment. He reads you your charges and asks you if you understand the charges. Would you like for us to appoint you an attorney, or are you going to be able to get an attorney for yourself? And these attorneys are making it like, well, he was supposed to have an attorney there. No. No.
And it's the totality of the evidence, you guys. It's not one single thing that makes or breaks this case. It's the totality of the evidence. It's all of it together. The weight of it is heavy. The weight of it proves beyond a reasonable doubt that this man committed these crimes, and he confessed 61 times.
I mean, like we said before, Kristin, we can see 1, 2, or 3 confessions being coerced or false, but 61 is unheard of.
No.
It is unheard of. And like I told everybody before, I've done my research, and I have not found one damn case where a person confessed over 60 times and the judge said, oh, those were false and he was coerced by law enforcement. Right. Not one case.
Yep. Yeah. And, Brad Weber went off on them when he was on the stand.
Yeah. He was lighting up Baldwin.
But wasn't Baldwin trying to say that he was there at 3:30?
Yeah, he said, you're sitting there trying to call me a liar.
But what happened to Baldwin saying he was there at 3:30? Now he's saying he's there at 2:44. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
They pick and choose what they put in their motions, hoping you're not going to go back and remember what they said back here.
Look what Stephanie said. They're claiming this is new evidence, new information.
Not
Bullshit.
do anything.
They've had this shit for the last 2 years.
There's nothing new here,
Nothing
guys.
new.
Nothing new. They're just hopefully writing it up differently, hoping that they don't have a judge that has any brains. And I'm sorry, but Judge Gull knows her
shit.
law. She knows her shit and her law.
Just like she told him in Allen County. I've been on the bench for 27 years. Don't tell me or try to quote law to me. She wasn't playing that crap.
No.
You know?
It's disrespectful. It's like, they are, and yeah, CJK, they are unethical. They lie over and over. They do, but the throwing the shit against the wall, that's what they do. That's what defense attorneys do. And that's what they're trained to do, hoping that it works. Stop and think about it. We've said this before. And I've had these
I know you're trying to catch your breath because you're getting pissed.
We've had these conversations before. But if you put yourself in a position to be arrested for the murder of 2 teenage girls, first of all, that's number one. You put yourself in a position to be arrested for it, okay? Most of us aren't going to be arrested for that kind of a crime, right? Because, first of all, we're not going to commit that kind of crime, and we're not going to be in that kind of a situation, right?
Right.
You agree with me there? Following me here? Richard Allen put himself there.
And we've seen it on video.
And we have a video of him walking on the bridge, and we have a video with his voice.
A clear voice.
And when you hear Richard Allen speak, he's bridge guy. I sat in court. I heard him, guys. I was in court twice with that man.
It's him.
It's him. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind they have the right guy.
And the only reason why Nick admitted the charges was because of what? Richard Allen would not give up if there was other players involved.
Yep.
So if you're not going to give the information that we need, you're taking the rap for the kidnapping and the murder. Even though the kidnapping charge, the murder
and that is why I believe that this is a lone wolf.
Yep.
Richard Allen is the only one responsible for what happened that day. There was no one else with him. Yes, one person can easily subdue 2 people with a gun.
Yep.
And especially 2 teenagers.
Girls, little girls. They're still little girls to me.
These were they weren't preteen, but they were close, 13 and 14 years old. And at the same time, stronger than you can ever imagine. Because when you stop and think about what Libby and Abby did that day to preserve that evidence, trust me, you guys, those 2 little girls knew what was going to happen to them.
Oh, yeah.
They knew what was going to happen to them. Think of the terror. Mike talked about that. Mike Patty, think of the terror that those 2 little girls went through. And if you believe that that man that's sitting in Westville right now with 130 years underneath his belt needs to be released, there's a great place in hell for you.
Well, I'm here to tell you, and everybody can back me on this. If they end up releasing him, he will end up dead within a week. I hate to say it like that, but it's the truth. Lady Monet says I think they avoided Keegan because the Kleins and Allens were connected. You cannot say that, Lady Monet, because they could not find any shred of evidence of connection between the Kleins and the Allens.
Yeah.
Stephanie says the video of the defense release proves Allen told the truth about the white van, even if he was off by a few minutes. You're right on point, Stephanie.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, when asked if they were there to meet someone, no one will ever know. You guys, there are things that we will never know about this case You have to wrap your head around that. We're never going to know everything. We're never going to know exactly what happened because Richard Allen is never going to tell us.
Well, then what's the reasoning for that? Because if you want to get technical, if there is somebody else involved, Richard Allen's not going to be a snitch because he knows what happens to snitches. Either you're going to be found in a ditch or your family's going to be found in a ditch. That's just the way it is.
Hey, Ruckus.
Oh, my. They got a foot of snow down in Florida
I know.
today.
Hey, Ruckus. Mwah. How are you, my dear? I'm so happy to see you.
Irish girl, I have a hard time believing that Ron Logan confessing to the 2 girls. You're getting this, you're hearing from an inmate in there who's trying to get a deal, get time cut from what he's in prison for. And that's what they do.
Exactly. Yep.
There you go. CJK makes a perfect point. Not once did they ask to have this.
No, not once.
And Judge Gold even admitted in court, you're not mentally ill.
No, he's not. And he said he wasn't. He told them if you guys heard him say that and when he was talking into the jail people or whoever he was at Westville, he told them, he goes, I'm not crazy. I'm just acting crazy.
And then what about when he was in Cass County? On his iPad, minding his own business, and all of a sudden he has a meltdown and goes up to the door and starts banging his head against the glass door and threatening the guards to fucking kill them by slashing their throat and doing the slashing motion.
Yep.
That's the reason why Judge Gold would not let that in there into the trial, because if she did, his ass was up shit creek once the jury saw that.
Yeah.
Knowing how the girls died.
Yeah.
And Elvis
oh my God, you guys,
guys,
I woke up this morning. It was 25 below wind chill here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was cold. And it was cold like that all day long. I think 9 below was the outdoor temperature most of the day here. So, yeah, it was cold. Cold. So we'll get to hear his confessions and stuff, but that stuff we're not going to get to hear or see, you guys, until after
a while.
Yeah, for quite a while. There's a lot going on right now for them getting the court's got to get stuff prepared for the appeal process.
And they also asked for an extension to file the appeal.
Yep. And so, people are just going to have to sit back and wait. It will come out. But I'm just saying, you guys just need to listen. Ruckus says it's 50 and raining here. This is bullshit.
I tried to call you today, George. You didn't answer. See-through says defense never once disputed the Freedom Bridge witnesses was who Ricky saw that day. Let me tell you something. I'm almost positive, not 100%, but I can guarantee you almost that when they were interviewing these witnesses, they laid a picture of Bridge Guy right in front of them and say, who's that? I can tell you right now, all of them said, that is the guy we saw on the trail. Guaranteed. And I hear these defense wackos saying, well, they couldn't identify him. Well, hell no, you had a damn face covering.
His face was covered. He had a hoodie on. He had a hat on.
He had his head down.
He did that all on purpose so that you wouldn't be able to completely identify him as far as looking at his face.
Right.
I mean, it's like, give me a break, people.
I mean, and then him trying to change the timeline.
Yeah.
That really was stupid. And then they're trying to say the teenage girls lied about the times they were out there.
Whatever.
Try to fit their narrative when Richard Allen changing his time. Well, Richard Allen did. It was the attorneys who changed it, honestly.
Right now it's 1 degree here and it's 16 below.
Oh, let me see mine.
So that's what it is here, you guys.
It's Lord. Hold on.
Irish girl, thank you so much for your $1.99 super chat.
Thank you. Much appreciated. It is -2. And it is -13 with the wind chill here.
Yep. Yep. He went and changed his height, his weight on his fishing license.
Why?
He also changed his appearance. He started gaining a ton of weight, you guys. Shaved his head. He did all kinds of things to try to change his appearance. Go back, look at what he looks like when he's playing pool.
Well, you even got the one
before the crime.
He's wearing that like lavender Oxford, the ball cap. He's real thin. Well, not thin, but compare that photo to when he's in the bar. Okay. Then when he got arrested, okay, that tells you right there how much weight he put on. He grew that real long beard, shaved his head.
Yeah.
You know,
he shaved his head.
And then you're going to have him, the attorneys intentionally tell him to starve himself, to lose all that weight, to change his appearance again.
Yep.
The attorneys did that. I'm telling you, the attorneys told him what to do to try to change his appearance.
Badass American says 61 confessions overrule one jailhouse inmate informant confession.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
Absolutely.
It's true.
And Ron Logan can't defend himself. He's deceased. He can't.
That's ridiculous.
And I understand you got to look at Ron Logan. I get it. But they did. They didn't find anything. They found no evidence. Absolutely none.
Several search warrants, the whole works.
Everything. They didn't find a gun that matched the bullet that was found at the crime scene, but they did when they went to Richard Allen's house. Not only did they find the .40 caliber gun, but the bullet matched.
Hey, Gibbo, put some earplugs in if we're bothering you while we're sleeping, bro.
Or turn it off.
He's messing with us. See how Gibbo
turn
is.
It off.
And it's just like I told everybody. I said, you're going to tell me that they snuck into Richard Allen's house when nobody was home and took one of them rounds and ejected it out of the gun and took it out to the crime scene and put it right between the girls.
Yep.
Give me an effing break.
Yeah. Or if you want to be Barbara McDonald, they didn't find it for weeks.
And then to top that off, they do the search warrant and find 19 cell phones, but the one he had at the time of the murders.
Yeah. That's a huge red flag. Huge red flag right there. Rick, where is your phone that you had in 2017? You have all these phones from before,
after. Yep, but not that
where's
one.
That phone, Rick? Oh, my wife may have done something with that phone. Really? Let's blame your wife.
And then you got your wife confronting you in the police department. You did not tell me you were on the bridge.
Nope.
You know?
How did your bullet get between them, Rick? She asked him that. Rick.
He's like, I couldn't have done that.
How did the bullet get between them, Rick? Oh, honey, I could never do something like that.
That manipulation tactic.
Yep. Manipulate.
And he's still manipulating. Ron Logan was thoroughly investigated. You are correct, Lady Monet. Gibbo Meister. Oh, no, Joe. Don't go there.
Yeah, Ruckus, I know. When his appeal is denied, it's going to be interesting to see where these defense delulus go, because they're like I was telling Frank today when we were talking, in my opinion, the media is just as bad, and they're just as much.
I am disappointed. I am so disappointed
because they're making a big deal out of this. So they're actually fanning the fire and the smoke around all of this stuff that's just normal.
It's almost like they're working for the defense.
Yeah. And so, I really wish that they would stop that, but
we know they got to have clicks too. That's the thing with that.
Yeah.
Ratings. You know.
Yeah. So, yeah, I do not see the appeal going anywhere. The appeal will be denied. I have no doubt in my mind.
That's all right, GP. You shouldn't be over there anyway. Because you're just giving them more clicks if you go over there and watch that. And I'm asking any of you guys that follow me, Kristin, Sleuth, Deb, any of the good people, please do not go over there and watch them, because all you're doing is promoting their channel when you give them clicks.
Yep.
That's all you're doing.
They grift for money. They're trying to make mountains out of molehills. And you know, yeah, there's some people out there that I'm really ashamed of and wish they would just quit it. That are, you know, that did attend the trial, was there, saw all the stuff, and they're still helping other people put out crap. And I just think that that's wrong.
Hold on. Go ahead.
And they know who they are. I don't have to call them out by name. They know who they are. And, you know, I don't know how you look at yourself in the mirror every day. I don't know how you get up in the morning, because you befriended the families. You looked them right in the eyes and told them that you supported them and you were there for them. And yet the whole time, this is what you're doing. This is the kind of stuff you're doing. You have no business even associating with the family.
You know what bothers me so much when it comes to these people? They are not putting themselves in the shoes of these families at all. Period. Yeah. Point blank. You know, and I keep preaching that. I want them to hear me. Put yourself in these families' shoes. Yep. What if it was your child, your granddaughter, your brother, sister, whatever? And you have to sit back and listen to all this bullshit.
Hey, Gibbo, be careful, because I'm older than Ruckus. So if Ruckus is older than Dust, be careful.
And Ruckus is older than me by a couple years. Only a couple. I'm not giving away my age, am I?
Hey, Kev. Coach Kev's here. Hi, bud. How are you?
What's up, Coach?
I hope you're staying warm up there in Pennsylvania, my dear.
You mean down in Pennsylvania?
Well, down in Pennsylvania. He's actually up there.
Well, I know, but with you being in Illinois, it's going to be down a little bit.
It's like,
and Justice Angel said, there's human error all the time. And that's exactly what we're trying to preach here, is that nobody's perfect. Not one murder case investigation is perfect. And if it is, I want to see it. Look at the mistakes they made in the Brian Kohlberger case so far. And now we got all the delusionals going over there, and they're basically doing the same thing in that case that's happened in this case.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You can't get around.
To me, more horrific. I mean, when you stop and think about it, you know, not that it's just because 4 people were, you know, unalived in that case. 4 children lost their lives in that case.
They would be children or us because of the age.
Yes, absolutely.
Kyra says, when Kathy said she'd take one if she were innocent, and LA are human. But that doesn't mean we don't have what we need to logically ignore the evidence.
You can't pick and choose what evidence you want to put in and what you want to believe and not believe. You can't do that. That's not how it works. You'd never make it sitting on a jury. You cannot pick and choose your evidence. You have to look at it all, and you have to weigh it all the same and all of it equally. You have to look at it, and you have to say, okay, what is the probability? What is the possibility of this? It is not an absolute doubt. It's reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is reasonable doubt. And that's one of the hardest things that a judge has to do, is explain to a jury what reasonable doubt means. Because a lot of people believe it's absolute. And it's not.
You know,
reasonable.
And what the defense is doing right now is basically picking a scab. It's picking a scab.
Yep.
And me
Oh,
and Becky.
God. Bob Mata all of a sudden believes the box cutter theory. Of course he does. He's an idiot.
Oh, for Ron Logan? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I did make some calls today and ask about what Ricky Davis said about the box cutters. He said apparently the people that I talked to apparently think that somehow, some way, maybe Ron Logan was questioned by law enforcement. Do you own any box cutters or anything like that? You know? So, and that's how the box cutters got brought up from what I'm understanding years ago.
Well, I think what's funny is, I don't know. I've not seen Baba before, but I like what they just said. I'm sick and tired of this crap. What does it say? I'm sick and tired of this crap. These people don't even know the case. Grown adults acting like thugs themselves. They better hope and pray it doesn't happen to them. Shame on them.
Exactly.
Absolutely perfectly said. God help them if anybody they love ever gets murdered.
And there's another point I want to make. Nicole Robinson of the FBI.
Oh boy, here we go.
Her PCA said there was no blood at the crime scene. Bitch, kiss my ass. I saw the shit in courtroom.
You saw the crime scene.
There was blood every damn where.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just thinking.
Because remember, that's where people were thinking back in the day, if you remember right, when that kind of got leaked, when they were talking about the crime scene not being bloody. Right. And we were kind of like, well, then how were they killed? You know what I mean? We were talking, well, what happened to them then? Oh, so did they bleed, not bleed? What happened? What a joke. I mean, I don't know why they would have wrote or why she would have wrote that or said that when you look at the crime scene and how much blood there was just from Libby.
Yeah.
I mean, good God, how could you say that? How could you say something like that?
And another thing that I caught in that PCA that she put in there said that Abby and Libby arrived at the trails at 1:00. Where did she get that information from?
Yeah, because that didn't happen.
No. See, we have to go way back. You guys, I hope you're following this because you're going to have to go way back in these documents to understand what we're talking about if you're new to the chat. Because I got a photographic memory. I don't even have to pull nothing to remember what was said in what documents, because we've been covering this case for so long and reviewed these documents over and over and over. You cannot forget what's in them. And like I said, and I'll say it again, explain to me why the defense in the memorandum was defending him saying he was not at the crime scene, but they would not touch him being bridge guy.
Yep.
They did not deny that.
Nope. And if you don't deny that he's bridge guy, then he's guilty of what he was charged with. It's just that simple. There's nothing more you need to know. And to me, the jury knew that. The jury needed to hear his voice. They needed to listen to that one last time. They needed to look at the video because once they were positive he was bridge guy, that's all they needed to convict him.
And the defense's phone expert is about the dumbest person I've ever.
I swear to God. I swear to God.
He's about the dumb. They get paid to say certain shit on that stand.
But even in the motion that came out late last night, to write and say that there was no evidence of mud, dirt, or water in the cell phone, are you insane? Those girls were marched naked across a frickin' creek.
Right.
With water clear up to here. How the heck
the autopsy of Libby said that she had scant amount of water in her lungs. I said, well, there goes, she got paid to say that Because she said, well, the sensor would have notified the phone that it's got water damage. And when they extracted the information, there was nothing there.
And what it gets me to is when the people say, well, you know, the cell phone, that doesn't show that a jack, anybody that works in tech with phones, I've talked to people that I know personally that work in tech with phones that said anybody that works with an iPhone knows doggone well that if it gets wet, it's going to show that the headphone jack has got something plugged into it. That's a no-brainer. They know that. It's out there. All you have to do is Google it, which is what he did.
Was there even a pair of gloves found, or has RA confessed to using a pair? Nothing was ever mentioned about a pair of gloves.
No, nothing was ever said about gloves or hand coverings.
Nope.
And like I said, there are things that we are not going to ever know. But if you listen to law enforcement and listen to the narrative of how he thinks the crime happened, Jerry Holman tells you he took the girls off the bridge to sexually assault them. He told us that's what he wanted to do.
Yep.
He marched them down the hill. Law enforcement believes that his intent was to do it right under the trestle bridge, right there. And if you go down that hill, which we've all been there, seen it. You go down that hill and right there, it's a perfect spot.
Right underneath the bridge.
Right below
the flag drive.
He started to do whatever it was he wanted to do. And guess what happened? He was scooped. Brad came home. So he hurried them out of there, got them out of there, and made them cross the creek.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he did what he needed to do at that point.
And his reasoning for doing what he had to do is because he claims that he wanted to spend more time with his family and stuff before he was caught.
Because he knew he was going to get caught for this crime.
And I do believe the girls recognized him at one point in time.
One or both of them, I think, realized that he worked at CVS.
Yep.
And that they had seen him. Because when you are in Delphi and you see how close that CVS is to all the places, the Dairy Queen, the McDonald's, all the places the girls would go.
Yep. Exactly.
You cannot tell me that they wouldn't have remembered who he was.
Exactly.
Too small of a town, guys.
And I've had people ask me about the scarf. And I got the answer for the scarf. The scarf was a nothing burger because according to the information that was given to me, the scarf was, what they said is that you could tell the scarf was old and it was really faded and it had been out there for a while. So the scarf is a nothing burger. The belt that allegedly was found out there. If you go to the photo of Abby on the bridge, she is not wearing a belt. Okay?
No, the girls did not have any other injuries besides their necks.
And then somebody tried to say, well, there was a box cutter and another weapon used. No.
Nope.
According to Dr. Core, he believes what happened is when he did what he did to Libby and then he went back to do it again to her. He went into the same wound, but went into a different angle when he went into that same wound to make it look. That's how the serrated happened.
Richard Dobson has a great point.
Where's he at?
He says he called 810. He called the tip line on February 16th, 2017, because he saw the still photo released on February 15th. He did not know, nor did anybody in the public know, that that photo came from the abduction video, because we didn't know there was an abduction video. Nobody did. Law enforcement set his trap. And it's the truth.
Okay, see.
As he saw that, as soon as he saw that photo, he's like, crap. I've been caught. They've got me on video.
And that's why he tipped himself in.
And that is why he tipped himself in. Absolutely.
Cindy, it was, or Boston Christian, it was 244, not 344.
And I guarantee you, I absolutely believe this. That man did not think he was going to get away with this, you guys. He didn't think he would be loose for 5 years.
He knew he was going to get caught sooner or later. That's why he made the
Richard
statement.
Allen was surprised as anyone else when law enforcement didn't come calling.
Right. He's like, damn, I got away with this shit. I got
away with this. I'm certain that man felt that. And that is why he probably followed this case so closely. I believe that he was on social media. I believe that he was following everything that he could to find out. He was listening to podcasts. He was probably reading Reddit. He was doing everything he could to find out.
On his wife's brother's Facebook account, because remember, Kathy said that somebody had hacked her deceased brother's Facebook.
Yep.
And Richard Allen didn't have a Facebook of his own, so it was so easy access to the brother-in-law to watch everything. You know? And another thing, what happened to the girls first? What was the very first thing that happened to the girls? They were kidnapped, right?
Yep.
Explain to me why they went back and found Google searches from Rick Allen on kidnapping and stuff like that.
Exactly. They didn't, that's what I'm saying. There's so much more to what was going on. The jury never heard that. The jury never heard some of the searches because didn't they say that they were too inflammatory? They were too inflammatory, and it would have been too prejudicial to Richard Allen for the jury to hear some of that. Yep. That, and they couldn't prove for sure who was looking or searching those.
Right.
We've got what? Richard Allen and Kathy Allen living in the house. His daughter's gone. So yep. I doubt very seriously anybody else was looking that stuff up. And I doubt that she was, honest to God. But whatever, he told whoever that, he's doing these searches not only on kidnapping, but like horrific murders and all kinds of, can you remember some of the searches?
No, I just remember the kidnapping one. I would have to go back to notes and all that.
But there was brutal murder one too.
Certain movies that had to deal with murders and kidnapping
and things like that. Yeah. And so I firmly believe that the search history was huge. I think that this man lived in another world, as far as, call it deviant, call it whatever you want, but I don't know that we'll ever truly know. He was living out fantasies and he was watching videos that helped him do that.
Get the courage to do it.
And now he said he's a coward. He said he was a coward.
And a lot of people said, well, why would he stop at the liquor store to get a 6-pack of beer? The only thing that I can come up with, the reasoning for that, is to numb himself for what he was about to do.
Yep. He didn't want to meet Dan Doolin at the police station. There's a reason for that. He didn't want, come on. If you're going to tip yourself in and, why aren't you going to go across the street to the, to the jail or to the, I'm talking about, to the police station. He just worked down the street from it.
Right.
Why wouldn't you just walk across the street and meet Dan Doolin there? Why did you have to meet him at the Save-A-Lot parking lot? Why did you have to go there and do it? That just doesn't make any sense, right? And, so there's just a lot of red flags about his behavior, things that he did, and for him to say, well, it's all over. He told Holman that multiple times when they were doing searches and stuff. Those were all red flags to law enforcement. Innocent people don't behave that way.
Holman said it was awful strange when he did that twice when they were doing the search of the home.
Yep. And to just come back and say later, well, I said that because you guys, made me look guilty because you were searching my house and all this other stuff. There were a lot of people in Delphi that got search warrants on them. and where they went and searched properties and they went and searched and looked. There was a lot of search warrants. You asked Nick about how many search warrants was served in this case.
I know on the Weber property, from what I remember, they did like 5 to 7 searches on the Weber property.
And so, I mean, they did a lot of searching and a lot of investigating. And so just because you get investigated doesn't mean your life is over. Why would it all be over? You know what I mean? If you're innocent, it wouldn't be over, right?
To me, if it was my house, go right ahead.
Yeah.
You're not going to find nothing. And what really got to me is when they found that single bullet in that keepsake box with all the memorabilia. The only round left of the round that they found at the crime scene. What did you do with all that ammunition? You saved one as a memento of what you did.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
Shane Constantine says 14% get granted appeal, 1% get overturned.
Yeah.
Indiana, it's 1%, period. And the national average is like 7%.
Yeah, you know, it's like I said, I mean, everybody wants to throw Dan Doolin under the bus in this case. And, you know, I'm not there. I mean, I was really mad for a long time when it first came out, but the more I thought about it and stuff, there was a lot of things that led to what happened. To me, the person that's probably the most responsible for this taking 5+ years to solve was whoever wrote cleared on that tip.
See, now right there, that's what's been bugging me forever. Everybody that was involved in that case should have known. The person who did it should have known, hey, I need to come forward and say, I'm the one that wrote clear on there. Why didn't you?
Yeah. So whoever wrote cleared, and again, when I saw Dan Doolin's tip and I saw what was written, and when we saw this in the different motions and stuff, and they were talking about what was written, the thing that jumped out at me, you guys, was when he wrote down at the bottom, needs to find out who these 3 girls are. He was more interested at that moment in the 3 girls and why they were out there, because he was thinking that this could be a teenager on teenager crime.
Yep.
That's what he was thinking, probably in his head. And he wasn't thinking about the fact that this guy was out there dressed like Bridge Guy, because he didn't tell Doolin he was dressed like Bridge Guy.
Nope. Not until they picked him up and interviewed him.
He did not tell them that. So Dan Doolin didn't know that. And that's one of the things that we need to remember about it. You can say what you want to about Richard Allen, but he's not dumb.
No.
And Richard Allen knew certain things that he needed to reveal and certain things that he didn't want to reveal.
Let's see. Delphi. It amazes me the amount
Boston
of people.
Christian says court TV's on about this now, and it's cray cray.
And that drives me crazy because Paulie, he's a former prosecutor.
He knows better.
Yeah.
I lost all respect for Vinnie Paul. I have no respect for Vinnie. I don't.
I know. That's why I don't watch him anymore.
I can't. He makes me so mad. It's like, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
Oh, they're still talking about John Bonet now.
Yeah. There's a lot going on with her case.
And now Lady Monet saying that YouTubers were publishing no bits of Kathy Shank's family members because they were part of the Masonic members. Let me tell you something about Masonic. My uncle was part of that. And I had
my dad was a 32nd degree Mason.
That's the highest you can go.
My dad was a 32nd degree Mason.
And I have had many conversations with my aunt over there, and she said they do not do no sacrifices. None of
heck
that.
No. No. They have a lot of things to answer for, but that's not one of them.
Richard Dobson says, I believe they aren't really so much pro Richard Allen, but they are anti-Ellie and anti-U.S. system. They attack Ellie in the courts in every high-profile case. They want anarchy. Look, everybody knows, if you don't, you need to start watching court cases. Our judicial system is not perfect. It will never be perfect. There is no such thing as perfect in this world unless you get plastic boobs and all that crap to try to look perfect.
Rescue All the Dogs says Court TV's verdict watch with Vinny was terrible. Oh God, I can't even imagine.
Kyra says you can't argue with fools. They either acknowledge consistent logic and reasoning or you end up running around in circles. And this is exactly what they're trying to do here. They're trying to run us in circles.
Oh, yeah.
Like we're some dum-dums. And the thing about it is that these people don't even research the law or anything.
You know, Barbara McDonald is to blame. She is a huge producer at Court TV now, and she is running the narrative on Delphi. And she should be ashamed of herself. Yeah. And, you know, I had to stand in line with her. God, I'll never forget it.
Yeah, I bet she ain't came out and said that old Ricky Davis failed polygraph, has she? They don't want nobody knowing about that. Well, I'm telling you right now, he failed a polygraph. Everybody needs to know that.
I'm not gonna believe the confession of a hardened criminal that's in court, you know, that's in jail, that has all kinds of reasons to lie or say what they want to say, and to do it after a man's dead who can't defend himself.
Well, no, this is he did this in June of 2017.
Oh, no, I'm talking about when he said what he said about Ron Logan.
Yeah, it was in June of 2017. Yep. And the letters that he wrote, which you can't read, somebody got them transcribed for me today, and I've got it. And it breaks down everything that allegedly Ron Logan told him. Which girl he killed first and why they were on the trip. Oh, that's
right. He was the one who was in jail with him, right?
Yes. Talking about, well, Abby wanted to go see the horses and Ron was going to take him over there, you know, and Libby's the one who was freaking out, apparently, according to him. And that Libby socked Ron Logan in the nose and got a bloody nose, and he got blood all over his clothes and the girl's clothes. He went to burn all his clothes in a fire pit, the whole works.
Rick Allen said that he parked at not the CPS building because, again, he was trying to, those little things, guys, are important. Those little things. You have to look at everything that Richard Allen did. When he said the wrong building, he dang well knew
it was the State Farm building.
Yeah, he knew that it was the CPS building. Mm-hmm. Trust me, he knew.
The State Farm building is just right a street or two over from the courthouse. Right down the street.
Yeah. The Farm Bureau. Yeah. He knew better. Mm-hmm. And he, like I said, he was doing little subtle things to try to take any eyes off of him that might have been looking at him.
Now, you got to remember, he tried to change his time, right? But we know for a fact that Bree had a photo that was taken right before they ran into him, and it had a timestamp.
Yep.
Yep.
And that, again, that they were hoping, the defense with all of that was hoping, when they started to question the timeline and they were trying to question when everything happened or whatever, again, that was them trying to throw it out there to see who would grab a hold of that and run with it. And a lot of people did. A lot of people were saying, oh, wait a minute, Richard Allen was home by 1:30.
No.
No, he wasn't. And
There's
he
a
never said that until
timestamp
after
photo.
he was arrested.
Yep. Timestamp photo from Bree proves that he was at the trails.
He never told them that. He never said anything about being home by 1:30. And what in the heck is all this stuff I'm hearing? I saw this. You have to tell me because you watch this stuff. And I saw somebody sent me something that said he was home asleep in bed at 5:30 when
his wife got home
Kathy
from work.
came home from work, or wasn't Kathy at her mom's?
No, she was at work.
Okay. Because I thought he had gone out to have lunch with his mom.
He was supposed to. Who would turn down a free lunch from your parents?
Yeah, no kidding.
Rush home to get a 6-pack and change clothes. Who does that when it's a mild
go
day
out to
for
the trail? No, he rushed home to change clothes, gets the 6-pack, and go out to the trail. What was his purpose for going out to the trail? It wasn't to watch fish drunk.
And to look at your stock ticker. Because CVS don't have any stock ticker. They don't have that. I researched that. They don't have none of that.
Well, I just want to know if he was looking at a stock ticker, what stocks he was buying and what stocks he was using.
I mean, it was just a ploy to me. And
No,
like you said, I've been out there in February and seen the creek itself. It is elevated and it is mud-looking water. Excuse me, Lord. You're not seeing fish. Fish are dormant at that time of the year in the wintertime, in a creek at that. Now, if you get into a lake, it's a different story because the water does not freeze from the top all the way to the bottom.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for them to change the year to Delphi after dawn or the day.
Yeah.
And like I said, you guys keep talking about the time on these cameras. There could have been a glitch on the camera where it automatically changed the time. Anytime you unplug a DVR or anything like that, plug it back in. What do you see on the front? The time is flashing. So you have to reset the time.
If you're going to go watch fish, you're going to go walk the 505.
Down to the creek itself.
Down to the creek itself. You're not going to go to the 501 and stand 65 feet up in the air and try to see fish. You're just not. I mean, it's beautiful up there, guys. Trust me, but still.
See, this is what confused me too. It says the defense is trying to say RA would have already been across the creek because Libby's phone or no longer moved when BH arrived at home. My personal opinion, they were already across the creek when he got spooked. And we've talked about this for years, Kristin. We knew that he got spooked somehow because of the way he left the crime scene. Just throwing a few sticks here and there on the girls. If you didn't get spooked, you would have made sure they were covered to where nobody could see them walking the trail or anything.
Yeah, we don't, like I said, we won't know unless Richard Allen one day tells everyone exactly what happened, minute by minute. And trust me, he knows. He knows exactly what he did that day. He knows exactly what he did with the girls and how he did it.
I need to explain something real quick. Roxanne, it was not Brad Weber's video cameras.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. It was a person's house off of 225, which runs this way to 625 going up Brad Weber's driveway. So it was a house off this road right here, way off that had the camera. That's where they got the video for the van.
Yeah. And so, like I said, if you're out there and you hear something, again, stop and think about what we know.
Mm-hmm.
In the early days of this case, law enforcement told us that everything that they knew, all the evidence that they had, pointed to that everything was over by 3:30.
That's just an estimate to them because they can't give it an exact time.
And so they, they're saying what, what they thought they knew at the time.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know the absolute. And to me, it doesn't, it's a moot point. It's a moot point because the jury heard all the evidence and they heard enough that put Richard Allen with the girls at the bridge, took them off the bridge, ordered them down the hill. That's all the jury needed to hear. They knew it was him. That's why they convicted him.
Mm-hmm.
As far as everything else, do we want to know? Will we ever know?
It ain't going to happen.
We may not.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Stephanie, cell data seemingly puts him at the cousin's house the day of. Hold on, I'm trying to read that.
Yes, the women on the trail, the girls, they weren't women, but the girls on the trail that day said he walked like he was going somewhere. Like
he was for purpose.
He was focused on something, and it wasn't them.
You can't get around the stuff that the prosecutor has, and that's exactly what they're trying to do. See, Mustang says that if the police were corrupt, they would have arrested anyone for the unaliving, but they didn't. Ari's bridge troll is the only one responsible. Bridge troll. That's a good one.
Absolutely.
Richard Allen is accused.
Had 5 years to pin it on whoever they wanted if this was what law enforcement was going to do. Give me a break.
All right. You guys have really been active in this chat tonight. I appreciate it, you guys. We're up. Hold on. Trying to read here. I should have put my glasses back on, but they were getting on my nerves. The confessions are... I'm trying to get to confessions, but it's going to be a while, guys.
Yep.
As far as I know, Judge Gold has not responded to anybody's correspondence. It's all been the court reporter.
And there's people out there claiming that they've got correspondence from the court that's not had any correspondence answered from the court. So don't believe them either.
But we've been at it an hour and a half, Miss Kristin.
I'm ready whenever you are, bud.
I think we've covered a lot here, and hopefully our scarecrows are listening.
Yeah.
Even though they don't care, they're still going to try to twist everything because I'll come right and debunk it, right behind them and debunk it. It's like I saw R&M today. Oh, Ron Logan's confession did it right there. Are you that damn stupid? His confession came from a fucking inmate that was in prison. It's that.
Right. Ron Logan didn't confess to anything.
You're not going to
Except
tell
that Ron Logan was very fearful of law enforcement putting him back in jail if they found out that he had been driving when they knew he wasn't supposed to be out driving.
And you're not going to tell me that Ron Logan marched them girls back across the bridge, down the trail to his own property. Who would be dumb enough to kill two little girls on their own property and leave them there?
Right. Absolutely.
Makes no sense.
Yep. No, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah. And the inmate's in there has a record for fraud. You're going to believe this person? Give me a
fraud, forgery, theft, drug possession,
polygraph.
Failed polygraph.
Boy, the defense is hanging everything on a real reputable person, right?
But
good God,
I think we've covered a lot this evening, Miss Kristin.
We have, and I just want to end by saying, you guys, when you guys are out there and you're perusing the streets of Delphi and you're looking for stuff to watch, will you guys please keep the family in your thoughts and prayers for these idiots that are out there with these narratives, because this is very upsetting to them. They have to hear this crap. People are talking to them about it. And, you know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. You know, and I've got a great relationship with the families, and I keep them informed of everything. And I'm not going to stop doing it either, period. And if you guys don't like it out there, kiss my rosy white ass, because they deserve to know exactly what you guys are doing. Because I'm telling you right now, some lawsuits are coming.
Oh, yeah. The defense daddies and Allen groupies need to let the jailhouse criminals sit at their tables around their wives and kids. He's a trustworthy, upstanding guy after all, right?
Yep. And I got that verified today about lawsuits when this is all over with. I can't wait. And I told them, you need to, especially the attorneys.
Oh, hell yes. These people that think it's okay to go out and defame people and to continually just throw people under the bus and accuse them of murdering their sister and of being part of this whole, you know, all of it. What they've done to Becky, what they've done to Mike, what they've done to Kelsey is absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, Bebe, perfect point. I am sick and tired of this crap. These people don't even know the case. A lot of these people that are running, I hate to say it, that are running that COCK mouth of theirs, were not any part of any of their pretrial hearings, nothing. And they think they know what the hell they're talking about because they hear rumors on the YouTube streets.
Yep.
You have to be in these court hearings to see and hear everything that's going on before you make a determination of what your thoughts are.
And again, it's not about what we think. It's not about what we know even. It's about what 12 jurors knew, thought of the evidence that was presented in court to them, you guys.
And like we said before, there's nothing wrong with basing your opinions. Everybody's entitled to that.
Everybody's entitled to think what they want.
You know, but when you go to the
right
extreme,
now, as of today, it's still a free country.
Yes. But when you go to the extremes on things that there's no evidence on what you're saying, that's what I have a problem with. You weren't in there. You don't know what was said. You didn't see none of the videos. Just like this crap with Nicole Robinson. I said it earlier. Where the hell did you come up with there's no blood at the crime scene? When we actually saw the shit in the court. When old Jason Page was the CSI guy and he was showing it all on the TV screen.
And now those crime scene photos are out there for the whole world to see. So, you know, sad.
But I want to thank you, Kristin.
Thank you for inviting me, as always.
I knew me and you had to have a bitch session today after this stuff came out, because when I talked to you this morning, he's like, calm down, Frank.
Calm down. It's okay, Frank. Calm down.
I was shitty. And I want to thank all my mods that came out and hung out and kept an eye on my chat today.
Thank you guys for being thank you for keeping it real. You guys are always so good about chatting and talking about smart things and using common sense. Frank and I say it all the time. Common sense ain't common anymore.
No.
It's just not. And there's nothing wrong, like I said, with questioning, well, did Ron Logan have anything to do with this? If these are new people that are just coming in that wonder, hell yeah, go out there and read and look and see. But make sure you're looking at the court information and the real information from the investigation. Because he was investigated
thoroughly
and completely. Trust me.
I mean, yes, common sense would tell you, well, damn, it happened on his property. He lied about his alibi.
Oh, yeah.
But what you have to know why he lied about his alibi.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
But Irish Girl, thank you for the $1.99 super sticker. It is greatly appreciated. And to everybody that turned out tonight, thank you so much. I love you guys. But until next time, you know what time it is. Peace out.
Good night, everyone.
One love, guys. Good night.